Good morning. Last week, Mrs. Ladwig had a video of her explaining something I can't remember, and so we're going to take turns. So today I'm going to be your video instructor. Hope you're doing well. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Here we go. We are going to this week move on to gerunds, but Mrs. Ladwig and I thought, let's review participles, make sure you truly understand participles before we go on to gerunds. So here we go, everybody. I want to talk about this sentence first, number 4, and explain why it's a participle, just so that you have that closure. These sentences you have already seen. They were some of the sentences sent out to you by our lesson plan page. Probably didn't say that right. So let's talk about them. First of all, I want to point this out to you. Remember all the times in DOL we talked about, why do we need this comma? Why do we need this comma? Oh, it's because it's starting a phrase. And so you saw that with our participles, we always follow it with a comma if it's in the beginning of a sentence. And lots of times you'll see commas around participles even if they're in the middle of the sentence or at the end of the sentence. So please keep that in mind. So we know that, we remember that from DOL. Also, number 2, please keep in mind that these participles are adjectives. That's the only thing they can do. And remember we talked about our phrases and our hard working phrases, how infinitives are the hardest working phrase because they can do so many things. Participles, they only have one job to do, and that's it. All they are is, they're just adjectives. So they're not very hard working. How you can always remember that is participle has an A in it, adjectives have an A. So I feel like that's really easy to remember. So not the hardest working phrases, and they are always adjectives. Lots of times they're at the beginning of the sentence, but they don't have to be, but when they are followed by a comma. So if they are adjectives, then notice how all of our participles we have here are always right by the noun. Remember our adverbs, how they can float and they can go anywhere. But remember in my classes anyway, I always said like adjectives are kind of married, and they're married to the noun. They can only go with that noun. They can't float around like your single adverb guys can. Okay, they're married to these particular nouns, so they're always right by the nouns. So here, she found her passport. What do I know about she? I know that she's opening her drawer. So opening her drawer is a participle phrase because it's modifying this noun or pronoun. Why is it a participle also? Notice the ending, this ing ending. Also make note of the fact that open is usually a verb. If I open something, that's a verb. But now I've kind of added a suffix to it. I put it with some other words. I placed it by a noun or a pronoun. Now all of a sudden I don't have a verb, I have a participle. So this is a participle phrase because it's giving me information about she. If I were going to diagram this, she found her passport, I'd have it separated here. Opening her drawer modifies she. So anytime information modifies a noun or pronoun, it's an adjective. Okay, so that's number 4. Let's go back up to the top. This one looks a little different from number 4 in the fact that my suffix has changed. Remember, this is present tense, this is past tense. But if I'm getting dressed, if I dress, that's usually a verb. But now I've kind of taken it from the verb spot. I've added only in white, I've added this ed suffix to it, and I'm modifying player. So since I'm modifying a noun, this is now a participle phrase. This is a participle phrase. If I were going to diagram it, dressed only in white would be underneath player because it modifies it. Number 2, the old man hesitating stumbled across the avenue. Okay, here's my participle. I know it's my participle. I have an ing, so another present tense. Hesitate is usually a verb. Not anymore, not in this sentence. It's modifying man. So it would go underneath man, hesitating, and it describes man. It's not his action. That's not the verb in the sentence. Stumbled is actually, I think I said that wrong. I think I said stumbled right there. Stumbled is my verb. So I would have separated my sentence here. Hesitating is describing man. So the old, and hesitating all describe man, okay? Last one, I approached the guard dog growling fiercely in the lot. Here's my sentence. I know this is my participle phrase. I kind of have a little hint because I have an ing, so I know it's present tense. Also, growl is usually a verb, but not in this sentence. Approached is my verb in this sentence. I is my subject. In this sentence, growling fiercely in the lot has one job. It's to modify dog. That's what it's doing. So if I'm modifying a noun or a pronoun, giving some information about it, I'm usually a verb, but I've added this suffix to it. That then has turned it to a participle. So in this sentence, growling fiercely in the lot would be diagrammed underneath dog. So we have a past tense participle modifying player. We have a present tense participle modifying man. We have a present tense participle modifying dog. We have a present tense participle modifying she. If I have a verb, a word that's usually a verb, but now I have an ing or an ed suffix to it, I'm placing it next to a noun, I now have a participle. So, review, kind of close that up. Let's move on to gerunds. Look forward to another video next week from Mrs. Ladwig. I hope you're all doing well. This was actually really fun to be in my room and talk to all of you. We both miss all of our students very, very much. So please take care. Please be safe. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.